has to be a subject that I feel passionate about, because you're going to put a tremendous amount of time, energy, and talent into it. And for me, it has to be a story that is more than superficial, okay? I want it to tell a story. I want, first of all, for it to call your name across the room, to beckon you to come closer. And as you come closer, you're finding out more than what's just apparent, okay? More than what's just obvious. And I hope to evoke some emotion.
My urban surroundings is my inspiration. You know, I take pieces and put them together and make a whole in my storytelling. To live in New York is one of the greatest places to get the most inspiration, and I am truly inspired by my urban surroundings.
There are so many stories that are not told, especially within my own culture. There's so many stories that, because they were done verbally, it's still that things have to be written down. Things have to be in some kind of tactile format for them to last. Someone could rewrite history if it's not written down some kind of way. So I may not write the story, but my visual will tell a lot of that story.
I've always made quilts. I made my first quilt when I was 7. People walked into my quilts probably 25 years ago, and they just make you finish it. They make you want it to happen. And I think that in a way that law doesn't do, it allows me to have a conversation with people.
One way to educate people about history in general and our history in particular is to make big, bold pictures that they can look at, that attract their attention, and then that will induce them to come closer and read what I have had to say about my work, and hopefully it will encourage them to go to a library or go online and read more about whatever the subject is.
The journey of life inspires me. Being able to tell a story, being able to live through art, live through creativity. Our everyday, mundane lives, so to speak, when a person becomes an artist, and God also calls artists as well. So these phenomenal folks featured in this show were called actually to be here at this particular point in time. We all have a unique perspective and a unique story to tell. And so we're imparted also with a vision to be able to craft a story to educate, to inspire, to instill hope and dreams in people.
I love what I do. I love being a part of this exhibition with all these wonderful quilt artists. So often we have shows and we never get to meet. And today or this evening I'm going to get to meet at least 60 of these women that I have admired for such a long time. So it's a wonderful event for me.
And then there's these people that I'll think about something they've done. I study history all the time. And I'll think, boy, I'd like to do something that commemorates an act they've done or a situation so that other people will be aware of it. And it gives me a chance to just think about those acts while I'm stitching.
I am always drawn to stories about African Americans, and because I'm an older woman, I'm also looking at women's stories. So both pieces are really telling women's stories. As I mentioned, Bessie Coleman is a woman who reached well beyond her circumstances growing up in a small town in East Texas. She managed to move to Chicago. She networked with people who helped her fly to Paris. And so those types of stories that tell how people overcome adversity, that's always very interesting to me.
I think through my quilts, I'm able, again, to express a lot of the emotions, the things that I really can't do in my day-to-day work. Yeah, in a thoughtful way and in a productive way, because I do want these quilts, the quilts that I make, I always want them to tell a story. I want them to educate. They're not decorative quilts. People will often say, oh, so you make quilts, and they assume utilitarian quilts for a bed. And I said, well, if you tried to wrap yourself in one of my quilts, you'd probably have a nightmare.